Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Bruno's Son, and in today's video, this one's going to be a little bit different. This audio is recorded after these games, so this is going to be a voiceover pretty much the entire time. This is going to be, the background's Bedwars for this video, but anyways, this video is going to be why I hate Lunar client over Badlion client. So what I'm going to do is in a different video, I'm going to be comparing Badlion to Lunar, but I wanted to make a separate video on why I really don't like Lunar client. I know hate's a bit of a strong word, but genuinely, I really hate Lunar client so much. So yeah, I'm going to talk about why and maybe persuade you guys to use Badlion instead of Lunar. So yeah, let's go. Alright, so one of the first biggest things I hate about Lunar is kind of the delay I get when I play PvP based game modes. I feel like there's so much more hit delay on Lunar and it just does not feel as smooth as Badlion. I don't know if there are any prominent Lunar players in my audience right now, but when I play on Lunar client, I just feel a lot slower than usual. I feel like I can't get combos as well. I feel like it's not as smooth, and when I'm on Badlion client, everything is just so much smoother. Like I can feel myself. With this footage, I was gonna record it on Lunar, but then I realized, wait, I think I can get Badlion to work. And the only reason I even switched to Lunar for like a day is because Badlion was just so laggy and I needed to record. So yeah, and it just on Lunar, I mean, it wasn't as laggy, but I just feel like I'm less optimized on Lunar than I am on Badlion client, if you know what I mean. Secondly, the reason I hate Lunar is because the mods. The mods on Lunar just feel like half butts of Badlion client mods that I already use, and I'm going to list off a few of them for example. The first one is the color saturation mod. Now, while not many people use this, I actually really like the color saturation mod because it makes my game look a lot more brighter, which for YouTube, color brightness means more views. Anyways, I think it makes my game look a lot better than the old standard boring version of Minecraft. But the problem is, on Lunar, this mod is broken, or I don't know if this was intended or not, but every time I use the mod, when I tab into a chest, or when I tab into like my inventory, or if I have to ESC to, you know, skip an ad or whatever on a video, the contrast will stop, and then once I tab back into the game, it takes it like a little, like maybe a second or two to tab back to contrast. On Badlion, it stays completely the same. So like the contrast level on Badlion, it just stays there constantly. So whether, you know, I tab out or whether, you know, I'm in my inventory, it just stays in that same contrast. Like, why does Lunar have to be, you know, the worst version of that? Now, I know that's not necessarily one that many people use, but I just wanted to point that out. The other couple of mods that I'm going to point out here, one of them being zoom. Now, zoom is super useful whether it be in-game or making my thumbnails, and especially when I'm making thumbnails, or heck, even recording intros for videos most of the time, I have to zoom in, and then I zoom in and out a little bit, you know, on my face to, you know, give it a more dramatic effect. But I just can't do that on Lunar because literally I can't scroll zoom on Lunar, which sucks because it takes away, if I was to use Lunar for all my videos, it would take away some of the dramatic effects that I use for my videos, and plus it would make thumbnails a lot harder because sometimes I zoom in on my thumbnails more than I need to, or if I need to zoom out more, whatever, but I only have one zoom setting, and I would hate to have to constantly go back to the mod setting to fix it just so I can zoom in. But on Badlion, I can just scroll to the right zoom that I can get, and I can make adjustments to those scrolls until I've pretty much optimized my entire thing. The third mod that I don't like as much, but I think it's something that I could get used to, is the keystrokes mod. Now, I know this is one that not really needs to be super great, it just kind of needs to show my WASD keys and my CPS, whatever, but using this mod, I feel like it's just less than on Lunar than it is on Badlion client. So, on this one in particular, it doesn't show my CPS, and I have to go in and modify it on Lunar to show my CPS, and even when I get it to show my CPS, it just isn't as clean. But on Badlion, I can enable the mod to, you know, give myself keystrokes with, you know, the key settings or whatever, and it has CPS and everything there. You can make it bigger or smaller. It's just a lot cleaner on Badlion than it is on Lunar. Okay, one side thing that I forgot to mention is the crosshair mod, and this is the last mod I'm going to mention because I think I'm, crapping on the mods a little bit too much and spending too much time here. But I want to go ahead and mention the crosshair mod because I feel like it is a little more customizable in some ways on Lunar, but then I made my own custom crosshair, and I think on Lunar, to make your own custom crosshair, it literally sucks. And you can load presets on Badlion client. So if you go to like a crosshair editor or something, then it's not as hard. But I do think that Lunar does have a nice little thing, like a better editor than Badlion did. But the thing is, I kind of made mine in the Badlion client, not like through an external client source or whatever. So it was kind of a negative thing for me because of the way I use my crosshair, which is just like a black crosshair with nothing in the middle of it. You'll be able to see it in my videos. So to manually do something on Lunar, I had to change to a bigger crosshair, and it just isn't, good for me. The next thing I want to touch on is the mods. Now, I've already said this, I've already complained about certain mods not working, but I'm talking about the entire mods list here and how the customization is quite lacking on Lunar. So if you noticed how I talked about, the keystrokes mod and stuff, how it's just not as customizable as Badlion client, well, that's kind of the case for every single mod, and there just is not a good enough set of mods for me. Now, I might not use every mod on Badlion client, but I feel like the mods that I use are effective in helping my gameplay. Now, you might be saying, well, time and frames don't really help, but those are just things like the time mod, the actual real life time. I use that to help me gauge what time it is so that I can go to bed, whatever. But I feel like the MS mod and the frames per second mod are just a lot cleaner and more useful on Badlion client. And being able to change the scoreboard around, I just feel like it's so much easier, and there's not as much customization for the scoreboard mod, especially if I was like a bigger streamer and needing to hide, my lobby numbers in Bedwars, for example. There really just isn't something that's comparable that, is as good on Lunar that I could get on Badlion client. So, yeah. One other thing that may be minor to me, and this is probably going to get hated on a lot, but this is more of a subtle thing. I just don't like the aesthetics of Lunar client. I am not really a person that goes for aesthetics in my life, so this is why I'm calling this one a subjective category, because this wasn't really a hate thing, it's more of a me thing. But I like Badlion's more cutthroat attitude, where they just have everything that's ready to go. There isn't no animations or long wait times. It's just, straight to it. And even in the loading screens too, it's more of the client side, especially when going to the server list. I go from the nice aesthetic to Lunar to kind of the boring Minecraft aesthetic, while on Badlion I go from RTX kind of night thing in Badlion, and I keep that until I join a server. And even when I join into a server and then I want to change my texture pack, for example, I still keep that nice aesthetic in the background. So I know I just want to say I'm hating on aesthetics, but there's just some things that I find that are really subtle about some things, and it just makes the experience better, because I feel like sometimes Lunar has good aesthetic, but then it all falls apart when I enter a server, and then it kind of feels clunky and a little bit too much like I'm using just a normal Minecraft client over that. And even Lunar does have settings for the texture pack, but I just feel like it should be one thing. You shouldn't really need to customize what your texture pack looks like, or your texture pack settings, because that's kind of like a niche weird thing. I don't know. Comment below if you're still here watching this part of the video what you guys may think about that. So yeah. I guess one last thing to end off this rant is that the menus on Lunar are way different to Badlion. If I want to make a menu bigger, for example, my chest menus or my inventory, there's really no way to have a medium big. It's either really small or you have to play config very large. And even if you do change settings on Lunar, this is very annoying too. Right here, if you change settings on Lunar, they sometimes may or may not even stay. I've found that sometimes when I change a setting or enable something, that it just will not stay at all, and it's super annoying. It's kind of weird actually, because usually if you make settings or profiles kind of whatever, you would hope that it would stay, because if it doesn't stay, then you lose the file. But then it doesn't, and then you're screwed because you lose all your progress. So yeah, those are my reasons for why I hate Lunar client. So I know it might seem a little scummy or a little petty, But honestly, enough subtle differences and honestly bad differences from Badlion would make anybody really not want to use Lunar. And that's why recently there's been an influx of people actually going back to Badlion recently. So yeah, hopefully this video helped you in educating you on why I don't like Lunar Client. It may also help you if you're an aspiring content creator of why you may not want to use Lunar Client necessarily, because for me, if I had to break it down, I would say Lunar Client is for people that are either getting into Minecraft or just don't know or really don't care a lot about their mods, but Badlion is more for people who care about mods and, you know, actually create content and want good mods to help them with content creating and making thumbnails, whatever. Oh well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, guys, hopefully I don't start too much politics in the comments section over clients. And yeah, guys, I'll see ya. Bye.